This is Matthew Brenner. Today is March 6th, 2017. Obamagate, what we know so far. Let's jump to Mike Rivero on March 6th.
Obviously, the big news right now is Obamagate. That's what they're starting to call it. And the backstory is that late last week, the security detail around Donald Trump discovered evidence of wiretaps and listening devices in Trump Tower in the areas where the Trump campaign had been organizing and having meetings. So Trump was being spied on. And immediately, of course, the corporate media is out there saying, oh, it's complete nonsense. It's just a wild allegation by Donald Trump. It's got nothing. You know, we need to go back to talking about how he's trading wet sloppy kisses with Vladimir Putin. Banner headline on the New York Times, Trump offering no evidence, says Obama tapped his phone, which strikes me as a really, really bizarre headline for the New York Slimes to have on there, because back on January 20th, of this year, the New York Slimes had a front page above the fold story saying wiretapped data used in inquiry of Trump aides. So the New York Times is just out there smoking opium when they say that there's no evidence whatsoever when they had the evidence on their own newspaper. By the way, I've been searching this story all over the place, and notice, to nobody's surprise, if I use Google to search for stories on Obama wiretapping Trump, all of the denials and all of that get shoved up to the top of the search results. You go to any other search engine, such as Yandex or DuckDuckGo, and the stories are properly blended between those saying, yes, it did happen, and those saying, no, it did not happen. Now, yesterday, trying to put out the fire on this one, James Clapper, who was Obama's Director of National Intelligence, went on Meet the Press to just say, absolutely, there was no wiretapping. It could not happen. It was absolutely ridiculous here, which would be reassuring to us all, except, of course, that James Clapper was caught lying under oath to Congress about the NSA spying on ordinary citizens. So they're raising on a busted flush by trying to get all these old fossils out there and say, oh, yes, trust us, it didn't happen, it didn't happen. Now, it's beginning to look like Donald Trump did make a tremendous mistake keeping on FBI Director James Comey, because apparently, according to Judge Jeanine Pirro, Director Comey is urging the Department of Justice to just reject this wiretap claim, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. And so I think Comey definitely has to go, and it's time for us to start digging up all those stories about how Comey was overseeing drug cartel money laundering when he was a top executive at the HSBC Bank. Start getting that back on out there, make that go viral. Now, Donald Trump isn't buying any of this. The word we're getting out of Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who's the Deputy Communications Director, is that Donald Trump is simply not believing Comey's denials. And he shouldn't, because this all happened under Comey's watch. Now, at this point, they can't deny the wiretapping happened. There have been too many insiders who came on out, including a member of Obama's own administration, saying, yeah, it was going on. And Obama is saying, well, it was all the Department of Justice. I had nothing to do with it. Really, it was me. He's throwing his underlings under the bus here right now. So we have this Obama administration source confirms the wiretapping happened against Donald Trump. We're in full-on Watergate mode right here. And Obama's people are in total panic. The corporate media is in a total panic. The intelligence agencies who were involved are in a total panic. Now, former CIA analyst Larry C. Johnson is saying, according to his sources, yes, in point of fact, Barack Obama gave the green light for the NSA and CIA to spy on and sabotage Donald Trump. So, Mark Levin is out there saying that his sources are indicating no less than 6 federal agencies were involved in spying on Donald Trump and trying to wreck him. And even with all of that, they still couldn't get Hillary Clinton into the White House. And let's see. Now, according to Mark Levin, he said the tapping went back way before the allegations of Russian interference in the elections. It started before then. Now, the Obama people, let's do a quick shout out to our on-air affiliates rejoining our network. We're talking about Obamagate, the fact that President Obama, before the election, was spying on Donald Trump. And whether or not it was legal, or whether or not we've got another Watergate on our hands, and given how hard the hackers are hitting my server today, it's pretty clear they're trying to keep a lid on this story right now. So Mark Levin has documented the spying was going on before any allegations of Russian interference in the election. That's an important point. Keep that in mind. We're going to come back to that in just a little while. Now then, William Binney, who actually designed the NSA's mass surveillance system, is saying absolutely they were tapping Donald Trump's phone calls. There's absolutely no question. And they're not targeting foreigners. Now, it appears that partway through this spying, there was a concern expressed that it was, after all, illegal. It was, after all, a repeat of Watergate. And so the Obama administration tried to craft a legal fiction to say it was okay to do that based on the allegations that Trump and Russia were working together. Now, apparently the FBI actually refused twice to wiretap Trump, so Obama went around them to the Foreign Intelligence Service Act court, and they requested a warrant which named Donald Trump, and for once in its very long career, the FISA Court rejected the warrant. Normally, FISA will grant something like 99.8% of all requested warrants. In this case, they turned them down. So the Obama administration went back to the FISA Court with a new warrant about Russian individuals. It did not name Donald Trump. The FISA Court granted the warrant, and the Obama administration then misused this warrant to spy on Trump and many connected to Donald Trump. And remember, all of this manufacturing of a FISA warrant happened after the spying was already underway. Now, Senator Ben Sasse, Republican of Nebraska, I'm sorry, that's Nevada, delivered a statement on Saturday. He wants to see that FISA court warrant. He thinks it should definitely be brought out and made public right now to see exactly what it said, and if in point of fact it was justified to be spying on Donald Trump's campaign on the basis of this warrant. Now remember, the Foreign Intelligence Service Act has the word foreign in it. The warrants are not supposed to apply domestically, and certainly not to a presidential candidate of the opposing party. Now, William Binney is out there saying exactly the same thing. This FISA warrant was a parallel construction to launder the improperly gained evidence through acceptable channels, trying to retroactively make it look like it was justified and legal on the basis of these allegations about Russia. And here's where it gets really interesting, because back on November 1st of last year, the FBI came on out and reported that their surveillance on the Trump campaign had not revealed any evidence whatsoever of Russian interference, Russia tampering or tinkering of any kind, and yet the Obama administration kept the wiretaps in place. That's where it starts to get really, really murky here. And remember, under the current technology, the government spooks can turn on the microphone and camera on Trump's personal cell phone even when he thinks it's turned off. They can do that to every one of us. Now, the reality is, contrary to the protestations, the whining in the corporate media, that there's nothing there, it's completely out of control. Paul Joseph Watson is out there saying there's significantly more evidence that Obama spied on Trump than evidence that Russia hacked the election. And that's absolutely true, especially when you have a member of Obama's former administration saying, yeah, it was common knowledge. And it gets worse than that. Obama was bugging Senator Jeff Sessions while he was still a senator, before he was even being considered for Attorney General. They were spying on him. Now, here's where it gets really, really interesting, and pay very close attention to it. 1 week before the election, Hillary tweeted a message that seemed to indicate she knew that Trump was being wiretapped. And if this intelligence being gathered on Donald Trump was being shared with Hillary Clinton, then it clearly had nothing to do with Russian interference in the election and everything to do with politics. And that puts us right back firmly in Watergate. And apparently that first FISA Court warrant was requested immediately following that meeting between Attorney General Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton on the runway at the Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport in June of last year. They had a meeting, and all of a sudden, the wiretaps go on. This thing is as dirty as it gets. So all this story about Russia hacking, it's backfiring horribly. Because like the allegations of election fraud, oh, Russia's tinkering with our election, and yet all the election fraud actually found benefited Hillary Clinton. And so now Russia's hacking this, Russia's hacking that. No, it was the Obama administration tapping into the phones, the communications of the Trump campaign. And you can just smell the panic out there. You can just smell the panic out there. They don't know how to get in front of this. They can't get in front of this. They're trying to flood the corporate media with denials. They've got their page shills all over social media saying this is ridiculous. How dare you impugn Barack Obama? And everybody's out there, trying to put this down. Nancy Pelosi was out there saying, quote, it's just ridiculous for the President Trump, to say that President Obama would ever order any wiretap of an American citizen, any president. We just don't do that. And Obama spokesman saying neither President Obama nor any White House official ever ordered orchestrated surveillance on any U.S. citizen. Harumph, harumph, harumph. Well, unfortunately, that is not entirely accurate. But then you already knew that was going to prove to be the case. Because WikiLeaks has come on out with a list, by no means complete, of all the times Obama was spying on American citizens. There was the time the U.S. National Security Agency bugged a private climate change strategy meeting between UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and German Chancellor Angela Merkel in Berlin. Obama bugged Chief of Staff at UN High Commissioner for Refugees for long-term interception targeting his Swiss telephone. Obama singled out the director of the Rules Division of the World Trade Organization and targeted his Swiss phone for long-term interception. Obama stole sensitive Italian diplomatic cables detailing how Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu implored Italy's Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi to help patch up the relationship with U.S. President Barack Obama. Obama intercepted top EU and Japanese trade missions discussing their secret strategy. None of this has anything to do with the war on terror. It's economics. It's economic espionage. Obama explicitly targeted 5 other top EU economic officials for long-term surveillance. Obama explicitly targeted the phones of Italy's ambassador to NATO and other top Italian officials. Obama intercepted details of a critical private meeting between then-French President Nicolas Sarkozy, Merkel, and Berlusconi, where the latter was told the Italian banking system was about to pop like a cork. We know that Obama wiretapped various individuals in the U.S. media that were reporting information not flattering to the Obama administration. Obama's Justice Department targeted journalists with wiretaps in 2013. And, of course, they've tapped the journalists over at WikiLeaks itself. In 2013, the Washington Post expressed its outrage after the revelation that the Department of Justice had investigated the news-gathering activities of a Fox News reporter as a potential crime in a probe of classified leaks. I wish they were looking at the leaks coming out of Trump's White House that intently right now. The reporter, Fox News' James Rosen, and his family were part of an investigation into government officials anonymously leaking information to journalists. Rosen was not charged, but he was spied on. Also in 2013, members of the Associated Press were targeted for the surveillance. The ultra-liberal New Yorker even noted that in moderate and liberal circles at least, the phone record scandal, partly because it involves dear old AP, and partly because it raises anew the specter of Big Brother, may well present the most serious threat to Obama's reputation. That is certainly true. It's coming on back to haunt him big time now. Reporter Cheryl Atkinson in 2014 said her personal computer and CBS laptop were hacked after she began filing stories about Benghazi that were unflattering to the Obama administration. A source who checked her laptop said the hacker used spyware proprietary to a government agency. So, yeah, they've been spying. The U.S. bugged Merkel's phone from 2002 to 2013. There is no question that Obama was using the surveillance state for his own gain. Now, despite the flood of denials coming from Obama and the corporate media's reassurance that it could never, ever possibly happen, just like they were saying last October, there could never be such a thing as an election fraud, the House Intelligence Committee has agreed. They are going to investigate the Obama administration wiretapping of the Trump campaign. This is going to get very, very ugly.
For more stories on Obamagate, Pedogate, Pizzagate, any kind of scandals, all things Trump, subscribe to my channel.